Hi, this is Mike Ferguson.
And this is Mike Morford.
And we'd like to invite you to check out our true crime podcast, Criminology.
In each season of Criminology, we take a deep dive to tackle some of the biggest cases in the history of true crime, using classified police files and interviews with investigators, experts, victims, and survivors, all in an effort to accurately and completely examine the cases we cover.
And Season 4 of Criminology is out right now. We're taking on cases solved in 2018 using DNA with the help of resources like Parabon, GEDmatch, and forensic genealogy. And we've got some great interviews this season with people like Paul Holes, who helped bring down the Golden State Killer, Curtis Rogers, founder of GEDmatch, Steve Armentrout, the CEO of Parabon, and Colleen Fitzpatrick, a forensic genealogist who's had a hand in solving some of these cases.
Past seasons of Criminology are available to binge, including in-depth coverage of the Zodiac Killer, the Golden State Killer, and Ted Bundy.
New episodes drop Saturdays at 10 o'clock p.m., and you can find and subscribe to Criminology on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app.
If you would like to discuss the murder in your family on this podcast, please be sure to visit themurderinmyfamily.com for more information. You can support this podcast by visiting patreon.com/themurderinmyfamily. This episode may contain unsettling material or subject matter. Listener discretion is advised.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Murder in My Family. Please allow me a moment to share some important information before we get started. As we start out 2019, I'd like to ask you all for your help. The Murder in My Family is hosted by a company called Libsyn, and Libsyn is helping me to better understand the demographics of my audience. They've arranged a short survey to get a better idea of who my listeners are. I'm asking everyone out there listening to please take a moment to complete this very brief survey for the show. It will literally take 30 seconds, and there are only 6 or 7 questions on the survey. You can fill out the survey right now by visiting survey.libsyn.com/themurderinmyfamily. That's survey.libsyn.com/themurderinmyfamily. I really appreciate and thank you for your support in completing the survey. If you find that you enjoy this podcast, please take a moment to rate and review it wherever you listen to podcasts so that the show can continue to grow and reach new listeners. To learn more about the show or the cases we discuss, please visit themurderinmyfamily.com. You can also find us on Twitter with the handle @murderinmyfam or by searching for the Murder in My Family podcast on Facebook. If you'd like to support the show via Patreon donation, it's always appreciated. And you can do so by visiting patreon.com/themurderinmyfamily. Benefits of supporting the show on Patreon include such things as early commercial-free access to new episodes of the show, plus bonus material not heard in regular episodes, and may include thank you cards, stickers, and more. If you prefer to, you can also support the show through a PayPal donation by visiting paypal.me/themurderinmyfamily. In each episode, I give shoutouts to any new supporters. Thank you for all the supporters that generously donate and keep the podcast going and improving. Thank you. And now on with the show. In this episode of The Murder in My Family, we'll be covering a Canadian case, the second Canadian case so far covered on this podcast. The unsolved 1983 murder of 17-year-old Donna Jean Awcock in London, Ontario. The city of London, located in southwestern Ontario, lies just north of Lake Erie and the U.S. border. The city has long been known for its tranquil and scenic parks and greenways along the Thames River. The mighty Thames River, 273 kilometers or 170 miles long, adds to the historic and robust atmosphere of London. And it was along this beautiful river that Donna Jean Awcock's body would be found discarded in October of 1983. Donna Jean Awcock was a quiet but happy 17-year-old at the time of her murder. The green-eyed teenager with dirty blonde hair loved kids and was close to her family. She adored her nieces and nephews, and she enjoyed babysitting. The fact that Donna was killed following a night of babysitting is what makes her death sadly ironic. Donna lived with her parents and siblings in an apartment on what was formerly Cheyenne Avenue, now known as Oakville Avenue. On Wednesday night, October 12, 1983, Donna agreed to babysit for a neighbor named Michelle Maynard, who lived at 86 Cheyenne Avenue, one building over from the Awcock family apartment. The night of babysitting was an uneventful one for Donna. In the early morning hours of Thursday, October 18th, at around 1 a.m., Michelle asked a stranger for a ride home from the Town and Country Tavern where she had spent the evening. The stranger agreed to make the 10-minute or so drive to Michelle's apartment. Along the way, Michelle asked the man if he would stop at a pizza parlor called Originals Pizza, and he agreed. They pulled in at around 1:30 a.m., and Michelle bought a pizza that she planned to share with Donna when she arrived home at her apartment. After leaving the pizza parlor, the stranger dropped Michelle off in the parking lot of her apartment complex and apparently left. Michelle started walking towards her apartment, a 3-story walk-up. Once Michelle got inside, she sat down and shared the pizza with Tammy. It was about 2 a.m. As they ate their pizza, there was a knock at the door. Michelle answered it only to find the stranger who had driven her home standing there. He told her that he wanted to come in and have some of her pizza, but Michelle refused him and sent him away. The man left without incident. A short while later, at close to 2:30 a.m., Michelle asked Donna if she would walk over to an all-night convenience store to get her a pack of cigarettes before Donna went home for the night, and Donna agreed to run the errand for Michelle. The convenience store, Mac's Milk Store, located at the intersection of Cheyenne and Huron, was only 180 meters, or about 500 feet away from Michelle's apartment. It should have taken Donna about 2 minutes to walk to the store. However, Donna never returned to Michelle's apartment with the cigarettes. A few hours later, Donna's mom, Carol, woke up and looked in Donna's bedroom, expecting to see her daughter asleep in bed. But to Carol's surprise, Donna hadn't slept in her bed. Right away, Carol sensed that something was wrong. Donna always called home if she decided to sleep over after babysitting, and Donna hadn't called home this time. Carol sent one of her daughters over to check with Michelle to see if she knew where Donna was. Michelle told her that she didn't know where she was and that she had gone home when she went out for cigarettes and hadn't come back. Knowing that Donna wasn't at Michelle's and also hadn't come home, the Awcock family began to panic. They asked other apartment residents if they had seen Donna, but none of them had. The family decided to call police, but were told that they had to wait a full 24 hours to file a missing persons report, and that Donna might be a runaway. The Awcock family knew that Donna wasn't a runaway, and they didn't want to wait 24 hours and waste precious time. They decided to take action and asked residents of the complex to help search the area for Donna. Residents fanned out through the neighborhood. 2 teenage boys decided to walk along the Thames riverbank near Fanshawe College, just southwest of Michelle's apartment. As they approached the Fanshawe Dam, they looked down an embankment and saw what looked like a body face down on the ground covered by a sweater. As they moved closer, they realized that they were right, and they ran off and got help. Police arrived on the scene and began to investigate the body and the area around it. The body was that of a young woman. She was badly beaten and strangled, and there were bruises on her body from her neck to her thighs. There was clear evidence of a sexual assault. Police noticed something orange in the woman's mouth. As they looked closer, they realized it was an orange plastic bag that had been shoved down the girl's throat. They felt it might have been used to gag or silence her during the attack. Police were confident that they had found Donna Awcock. but unfortunately, it would take the identification of a family member to say with certainty. The body was transported to the local morgue, and Donna's parents were notified that the body of a young woman had been recovered. Donna's father, Don, was tasked with the unimaginable job of identifying his daughter's battered body. As he looked down at the lifeless body on the gurney, the reality hit him that he was indeed looking at his dead daughter. As if that hadn't been hard enough, he then had to go home and break the news to his family. When he did, they were devastated. Police went right to work on Donna's case and started rebuilding a timeline of events from the day before when Donna had gone to Michelle's to babysit. They were especially interested in the man that gave Michelle a ride home. Michelle didn't know the man, and she didn't even know his name, but she was able to provide a detailed description of him to police. Using Michelle's description, as well as descriptions given by witnesses at the bar, the man was described as being in his late 20s or early 30s. He was about 5'6" to 5'8", and weighed about 160 pounds. He was slim and clean-shaven. He wore faded blue jeans and a long-sleeved blue shirt and brown cowboy boots. His car was described as being a white or light-colored older model, possibly a Ford Torino. A composite sketch of the unknown man was created and circulated, but no one recognized the man. As police backtracked through the man's movements, they asked bar patrons and employees if they recognized the man, but he wasn't a regular customer. Police then checked with the clerk at Mac's Milk Store, where Donna had headed off to get cigarettes. He remembered Donna, and what he told police was frightening. At around 2:30 a.m., Donna had entered the store, and she seemed frightened. The clerk described her as being terrified and crying. She purchased the cigarettes and left. The clerk never asked her what was wrong, and Donna never asked for help. That was the last time Donna was seen alive. 35 years later, Donna's case remains unsolved. This is a case in which Donna might have been saved if people just made the effort to care a bit more, to take action. If Michelle had called Donna's home to check on her to see if she made it home, if the clerk had asked Donna what was wrong, these were missed opportunities to try and save a 17-year-old girl. We'll never know if these small but important actions might have saved Donna, but for the last 35 years, Donna's family has had to ask themselves, what if? If there's anything positive in Donna's case, it's that apparently there was DNA from her killer collected into evidence. Several suspects have been ruled out through DNA, so perhaps the same DNA can be used to one day identify Donna's killer. Donna's sister Tammy has been tirelessly championing her sister's case and trying to raise awareness for it, to let people know that it hasn't been solved. From interviews to social media, there's nothing that Tammy hasn't been willing to try. She joined me to discuss Donna's case. That conversation is next. Hi, Tammy. Thank you so much for joining me to discuss your sister Donna's case with us.
Thank you.
And I know you've been searching for answers in your sister's case for so long now. Your parents passed away, so they never got to find out what happened to Donna. You made it a point that you wanted to keep searching and try and find those answers.
Absolutely, for us. Yeah.
How hard has that been for you over the years that you've been doing that?
It's frustrating. Very frustrating. Because you just keep hitting dead ends. Like still today, I get tips. Like people email me a tip because like I try as much as I can to keep her in the public eye. Just to, like I said, I just keep hitting dead ends. Like every piece of information I get, I'll email OPP and just pray to God. It's it. 35 years is just way too long.
How soon after she was murdered did you start to take this challenge on to start digging for answers in her case?
I think I started the Facebook group. I believe I started that in 2010. Quite a few years. I just try and keep it going that way, and I still get tips in through that way as well.
You started that to, I guess, do two things: to generate tips and get leads if you could, plus to just keep her case out there, keep it out in the public eye.
Absolutely.
A lot of times I have guests on here that are talking about a murdered family member. A lot of times it's a sister. For whatever reason, it seems like it's disproportionate that so many people have murdered sisters, and it's very sad. And I always hear from people how close they were and how they keep that determination up to find who killed their sister. And I take it that's the same with you.
Yeah, we were all really close, like all of us. Like we were all very close-knit family. We still are. But yeah, just actually my younger sister and Donna were very close. They shared a room, and they were really close. Where I was a young mom. Had two kids, and I was pregnant for my third when this happened to Donna. So I was busy with my kids. But yeah, my younger sister, she was pretty close to her, and they find it hard. Like my younger sister always says to me, I don't know how you do it. But it's like, we got to find out who done this, and then we can't just, if we just quit, what does that tell her?
You want to honor her.
Yeah, we can't give up. We just can't.
Tell us a little bit about Donna, what kind of person she was.
She was a quiet girl. She didn't have a lot of friends. She loved kids. That's why she babysat all the time. And sadly, that's what took her life. She'd babysat. She liked to play baseball with the kids in the playground there that was in between all the buildings. No, she was a homebody. She didn't go very far. But yeah, she was quiet. She was funny, loving.
How many siblings altogether were there?
There was 5 of us altogether.
So it was a pretty good sized family then.
Yeah, there was 4 girls, 1 boy.
I can only imagine that when she was taken away from you all, that it just left a hole or a void in your family. Oh my
God, yeah. Piece of your heart's broken. Yeah.
One thing I had read, and it's just one of the things that you were talking about doing, and I don't know if you ever got around to doing this, but you, at one point, were raising money to try and hire a psychic detective. Is that correct?
We wanted to get a private eye. That's what we wanted to do. But digging with the police and whatnot, they told us that, because the private eye wanted access to Donna's files. And they said no. I wasn't allowed to see anything. I had asked even for her autopsy report, even for when they did To Catch a Killer, and it's like they said no. They said you won't lay eyes on an open and active case. So then the private eye said, which I believe was David Lord, that we were going to hire. Said, he goes, unfortunately, Tammy, that I could take all your money, but I'm not going to get anywhere from at all. Unfortunately.
So you felt like it wasn't going to be an avenue that would lead to anything solid?
Well, no, that's what he said. He goes, I wouldn't have much to work on. And he goes, it's been a lot of years. He said, so he goes, even if I did it pro bono for you, he goes, I would lose my business because it would take me years to get down to everything.
Yeah, it's time consuming to go through a case that old and
exactly. That was his point, right?
Yeah. I know it was a tricky case and all the details aren't fully known, but if you could, can you walk us through the day that Donna was killed and sort of lay out what you know as far as what happened?
Well, Donna went babysitting on October 12th for Michelle Maynard, and I guess they stopped at Originals Pizza on the way home. They sat at the bar all day, sat at Originals Pizza, come home, and they brought the pizza home. They ate the pizza. Well, she sat with this guy in the bar. I should start from there. They sat with she sat with this guy in the bar that offered her a ride home. She said that they never exchanged names. And there was quite some time that they were there at the bar together. The guy, I'm not sure if he offered her a ride home or if she asked for a ride home. There's discrepancies there. So, anyway, she got home, and her and Donna had shared the pizza, and while they were eating the pizza, knocked him on the door. And it was him saying that he wants some of that pizza. She said, "You're not coming in. Go away." How he knew where she lived is beyond me, because she lived in a three-story walk-up. She lived on the second floor, and her apartment faced the playground. He would not see it from the parking lot. So anyway, after they were done eating the pizza, she had asked Donna if Donna would go to the store and get her cigarettes, which was Max Milk, not far from the apartments. That's open 24 hours. Donna went to the store, bought the cigarettes. The clerk said that she had either looked scared and crying or just cold and her eyes were watering. Donna had asked to use the phone, and he had said, "No, we're not allowed to let anyone use our phone." So Donna had left and never seen again. The next morning, we all got up, and Mom said to my youngest sister, Laura, "Go over to Michelle's and tell Donna to come home." So my sister went over to the apartment, and Michelle wouldn't even open up the door to her and just said, "Donna went home last night." So we thought, well, that's kind of strange. So we went to people that she lives in the apartment, see if Donna had went there. Nobody had seen her. So Mom called the police and reported her missing because it's just not Donna not to not come home. So then the police said that we'd have to wait 24 hours because they class them as runaway. There's no way that Donna would run away. We knew that. So all 4 buildings got together, and we started a search. I think there was probably about 200 people all together, and everybody kind of went their separate ways. And the 2 boys headed out to Fanshawe, and those are the ones that found her down the embankment on Fanshawe. And those 2 boys had found her, and they went to the house at the end of the road and called the police. Now, what we were told is OPP and London police couldn't figure out whose jurisdiction it was, so Donna laid there for quite some time before they decided, it was OPP's case. So I think we got confirmation about, 2:30 in the morning that it was definitely Donna. So Mom and Dad went down to, I believe it was University Hospital that they had sent her to, and my dad had to identify her with a bag shoved down her throat.
I can only imagine how hard that was for him.
I think my dad died that day. It just took him 21 years to lay down because it never lived after that.
Because how do you get that memory, that sight out of your mind?
Yeah. Well, he lost his job over it, and his health declined, and he just quit living.
And it's frustrating that the police right away assumed she was a runaway, and that cost some time. And then also, it sounds frustrating that the store didn't let her use the phone because who knows, maybe she would have called somebody for help.
That's right.
So I can only imagine how frustrating that must be for your family too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not knowing if that would have made a difference. From all accounts, was that man the main suspect? That same man, as far as you know, the main or the only suspect?
To my knowledge, yes. And I say to the police all the time, if the person that drove Michelle home from the bar that night, if he had nothing to do with this case, why hasn't he come forward to the police and say, "Here, take my DNA. I didn't do this." I don't understand. but that person's never come forward.
And never been identified.
No. We have no idea who that person was.
One thing that popped into my mind while you were talking about the day she went missing, did the woman that she was babysitting for, did she think it was odd that Donna didn't come back with the cigarettes? Do you think that was unusual?
You know what? She never ever spoke to us. None of us, ever, after that happened. It's like we don't know nothing. Because she was kind of like more of a friend of my sister's than anybody. But we don't know anything about her thoughts or anything. Now, supposedly she went to the store. Well, she did because it was confirmed, to see if Donna did make it there and bought the cigarettes, and they confirmed that, yes, she was there. But why wouldn't she stop at my parents' house on the way back and said, like, Donna didn't come back. Like, where is she? If she wanted her cigarettes, why wouldn't she stop at the house? She had to pass right by my parents' house to get to the store. My parents lived on the main floor. All she had to do was rap on the balcony door.
Another frustrating piece of the case is that
it's very frustrating. All of it is just very frustrating.
And I know you've done a lot of research yourself, and you've compiled information. And like a lot of people I talk to, they sort of become unofficial investigators in their family member's case.
Yeah.
Do you feel that's true for you?
Yes. Yeah.
In all the work and the searching that you've done, what are some of the things that you've discovered, or some of the theories that you have about your sister's case?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, because, the detectives asked me too. It's like, what do you think? Like, I'm just dumbfounded. I don't know anyone who could ever do something like this. Like, to take somebody to that nature, like, just, I don't know. It's just beside myself how somebody can be so cruel. Like, I don't know. I'm baffled with it. Just baffled.
As far as some of the information that police have to try and one day identify this guy, do you know where it stands as far as DNA or other evidence that they might have that might one day
there is
determine
DNA.
who it is? Okay.
There is DNA.
And are you hopeful after seeing these older cases being solved in the news? Does that give you more hope that your sister's case may one day be solved too?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do believe it will be solved, but it's just going to take some kick-ass, to get it done. And I don't let it go. Like, I'm always constant contact with him, always.
So you stay in touch with them and keep informed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hound them. I'm probably their worst nightmare.
And that sort of leads me to my next question, because some of the guests that I have on the show are brutally honest when it comes to the police investigation in their family members' murder case. If they're happy with detectives, they'll say they're happy, but if they're not happy, they'll voice their displeasure too, that they think detectives dropped the ball.
I kind of find sometimes it's like, because I've heard, well, Donna's not the only case we have. Yeah, I get that. But you know what? When there's a tip, get on it.
Yeah, because it's, to you, it's your family member, and it's your only case. Exactly, it's your only case. So where you're coming from, obviously, it definitely makes sense. And sometimes they could handle a little bit nicer, and at least make you feel that they're putting the effort in. Even though they have other cases. So that's definitely understandable. But overall, do you think the police work has been pretty good in the case? Would you say that they've done a pretty good job? Or I
think they could have done better. I really do. Like, these cases should not be left on any burner whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like, they need to be looked at. And you can't put a dollar amount on these unsolved cases. Like, you just can't. Like, get the funds, get these people on, and I'm sure there's retired police officers out there that'll work on these cases. You know what I mean? Like, And they keep telling me it's solvable. Okay, solve it. I know it's easier said than done, but like 35 years later and I still get tips today. Come on.
And you mentioned getting tips and stuff. Have some of those tips that you've gotten that you share with police, have they been pretty interesting ones or things that you think?
Some are kind of off the wall, but I have to forward them regardless. You know what I mean? Because you never know. Something that could sound so silly could be what opens this case wide open. So it doesn't matter, regardless of what it is, I share it. Like it's just, I send it off. I had one girl message me a couple months ago saying that it was her, she firmly believed it was her brother that did it. And then it was like, okay, so I send all the information to OPP. Then it was, oh no, it wasn't my brother. He was already in jail. Don't play games with me. You know what I mean? Like, but I said to OPP, you know what? Check him out anyway. Who knows? Why would she say it was her brother?
So you have to deal with the good and the bad.
Absolutely.
One thing that was positive was I saw that case was featured on the TV show To Catch a Killer.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you?
That was crazy. It was like, oh my God. Every time when that stuff comes up, it's hard because you're reliving it. I don't have any parent that has, or any family member that has to go through that because it's hard.
Did the show bring new attention to the case?
It gave us a new sketch of the person because Michelle admitted 30 years later that she had lied, saying that she was too drunk, and so she just made up some composite.
So even more frustration, years later with the TV show.
Yeah. So they did get a new composite, but I get tips from the new composite too, and I send that off to police. But sadly, I never hear the outcome. You know what I mean?
Hopefully, as we mentioned with DNA, that you'll be getting some real solid information about an arrest, because as we know, just from watching the news about all these cases being solved, it can be done, and they can track that DNA, through a family tree to the right person.
Yeah, absolutely.
In addition to being a TV show done about the case, has there been any other podcasts or anything that have done an episode about your sister's case?
Unsolved Mysteries did years ago. Now that show hasn't been on the air in years, but they did years ago. But other than that, no. Oh, actually, she was on. Remember Project Angel?
I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, there was Project Angel where OPP took a bunch of cases, and nothing come out of that one either.
I can imagine how frustrating it must be to have some chances to get attention for the case, and then you think maybe this is it, and maybe we're going to get some news, but even with this extra exposure, you still don't get any answers.
Yeah. Well, somebody knows something. Like, come on. Like, I don't know.
Well, hopefully this podcast will help reach a little bit more people.
I pray.
Yeah, if we can reach more people, maybe the right person hears something and
absolutely
comes forward.
I can't thank you guys enough for doing this.
One thing I just want to ask you is important is, where can people reach out to you? You mentioned your Facebook page. What's the name of the Facebook page so people can find you?
Justice for Donna Jean Awcock.
And people can read along material about the case on there, I assume, and also
absolutely
message you if they have information.
Yeah, and they could contact me through my email if they want to at tammydennett@outlook.com.
Is there any kind of tip line, police tip line or information line people can call to if they have information?
There's Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. And they could call OPP 1-800-310-1122. Or they can contact Randy Wright. He's the officer or the OPP detective on Donna's case.
And we'll be sure to include those in the notes for the episode when it comes out, and people can find you that way and hopefully share information if they have it.
Absolutely.
And I'm certainly hoping that I hear that the case is solved through DNA. Hopefully you get a news flash one day that they've made an arrest.
Oh, my God.
Or at the very least, even if the person's dead, you know, they've been digging up people recently and verifying that they were responsible for crimes, even if they're already dead. So hopefully your family at least gets answers and you know who did this.
Absolutely. I do believe it will be solved, and I don't let it go.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Murder of My Family. At the beginning of this episode, you heard a short preview for one of my other podcasts, Criminology. I hope that if you don't already listen to Criminology, you'll give it a listen. The format is a little different than The Murder of My Family, but if you're a fan of the true crime genre, I think you'll really enjoy it. And I'm very happy to announce that starting January 5th, 2019, Criminology, like The Murder of My Family, moves to weekly episodes. That means that we can bring you even more fascinating and mysterious cases. I want to close out by saying Happy New Year to everyone. I hope that you have a healthy and safe 2019. And before you go, remember that every murder victim means something to somebody.